Hello!
Hello!
Today we are doing a bit of an explore again, unsurprisingly, and what we're going to do is it's loosely based on the theme of Outlander. We do like a bit of Outlander, so what we're doing is we're going to do a park run tomorrow at Palace Rig in Cumbernauld, and then we're going to show you some of the sites and some of the locations that are used in Outlander. So that's our wee theme this week. We actually have a theme, we've put a bit of thought into it, and we haven't just googled Outlander locations. Actually, yes, that's exactly what we've just done. So now we are in the town of Cumbernauld, which could never really be called pretty, but it's got one thing going for it. If you're a fan of Outlander, and this adventure will have a few Outlander locations on it, this is Cumbernauld Glen, and this is where they do a lot of the filming because it's local to the studios. Although this may look like woodland in Cumbernauld in Scotland, it's actually not. This is actually where Jamie fought the bear. Oh, could that be the bear, do you think? Is that the bear that no, that looks like a local celebrity. Hello, Dogalog. This is a really nice park, and you can see why it lends itself well to being a lot of different places and a lot of different times. We'll be okay if there are any bears in this park because we've got De Niro for protection, although De Niro did just try to run away from that wee white dog that we just saw, so I've got no idea exactly how much protection he would be. Probably not an awful lot. It's always really cool trying to identify locations that you've actually seen on the telly, but this is just lots of trees, so I think we've got no chance. Bex is protesting because this is actually quite a big hill, but she's fine, she's enjoying it. Yep, it's definitely quite a big hill. De Niro is going strong, we are flagging, and I'm doing that thing where I get out of breath, try to talk and walk at the same time, so I'm going to shut up.
Yes, please.
At the top of that hill there is some daylight, and hopefully this is us now heading towards Cumbernauld House, which I didn't know existed until today, till we found it on Google. There is a nice landscaped park, so let's go and see if we can find the house. Right, so all we've got to do now is find out where the house is.
Is that not it there behind that tree?
Nobody likes a smartie. Wow, that is not a bad park, is it? Over there you see some of the nice modern houses that you get round these parts that aren't very pretty, and up there is an old house that we're going to go now for a wee look. Oh well, we've made it as far as the house, and there's a big sign that says private property, go away, you're not allowed in. So go take a look at it from outside, show you guys what Cumbernauld House looks like, and then we are going to do what they say and go somewhere else.
Not a bad place to live, is it?
Isn't it? It's a really nice house. I wonder who lives there now. Probably people who have bought expensive flats, I would guess. The Cumbernauld house that you see here is built on the site of an older Cumbernauld castle that was frequented by the likes of Mary, Queen of Scots, and other Scottish nobility and royalty. Have I said how much I love our wee drone? Well, I love our wee drone. Oh, I've just been told by Bex that I was talking about loving the drone, and that's not fair. Okay, I love De Niro as well.
Oi, charming. Whoop! This fell through the hole.
I'll do it again. Bex has let De Niro off the lead, and De Niro has not yet realised. I think we're okay around here because there are nobody and nothing to chase, nothing to eat, nothing to annoy. So De Niro will be zooming about like a big racing grey. No, he's not, he's standing. Yeah, we are trusting De Niro to behave himself and not go and steal anyone's picnic. Like, oh, I don't know, those two girls over there with the picnic. Run, 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 run! Woof! Zoom! That's probably about as zoomy as he's going to get. How nice is it to see a rescue dog having a good time? And a rescue wife over there as well. I think De Niro is not interested in me, he's more interested in sniffs. De Niro! Shh. Look at that! Woo! Yay! You actually hear his, I was going to say hoofs, you actually hear his paws thundering off the ground. Meow! We are quite enjoying Cumbernauld Glen, and we don't have to use Glen as our word of the day, because as you'll know by now, that was our word of the day in Dunfermline when we went to the Glen. This is just Cumbernauld Glen. Executive summary, it means valley, but you probably knew that. If you go down to Cumbernauld Glen today, you probably won't see a bear. There are a lot of dogs here. This is obviously a dog walking person, but it's a lot of poochies, and De Niro is not sure about other dogs. Let's see how this goes. Oh, well behaved. Well done, guys. The dog walker that's out with those dogs has got them ruled with a rod of iron. They're all sitting there and not daring to move. And because it's us, we just had a conversation that we always have when we're doing this. We just had the where's the van conversation. Which way did we come in? Don't know.
It all looks the same.
It's all just trees and bears. And there is Mabel's big yellow bottom. We have found her. Yay! And it's clean. She's been washed. And the reason that the Glen in Cumbernauld plays so many roles in Outlander is this. This is Ward Park Studios. This is one of the main production centres for the TV programme, and it's usually mobbed with fans. At the moment there are no lorries here, so I'm guessing they are not actually doing anything. We've come out of Cumbernauld a little way, because why would you stay in Cumbernauld if you didn't have to? And we are down by the canal, and over there is Mabel for her top secret stealth camping overnight spot. And over here are lots of boats, and over there is a really nice looking pub that we might have to try a bit later. This was a loading point for coal from the Buch pit at Croy, and also whinstone from the Auchenstary quarry, which is really interesting. This is also interesting because it talks about an embarkation point for many immigrants travelling to Glasgow to go to Canada or America. Now, if you've seen our recent video of Dunfermline, that is the way that Andrew Carnegie and his family went. They went past the canal here to Glasgow and then onwards to America. What do you think, De Niro? Are you finding this lovely? I think so, yes. I think De Niro is quite enjoying his doggy life today. And if you remember our recent video from Dunfermline, I said if Bex was there she could tell you something about flowers, because she is the botanist. So she can now tell you what sort of plant that is, because I would just call that a pink one.
I would say that's a pink one too.
Okay, and what about that one down there?
Purple one.
They are in-depth botany from Scotland on a shoestring. This is really quite pretty. This is not an area that we would actually have said, oh, you should come here if you're visiting, but it's actually quite nice. That pub looks brilliant. It looks like it's got rooms as well if you want to stay somewhere. It's got glorious gins. I thought that I said notorious gins, but it's glorious gins, and more importantly, dogs and well-behaved owners welcome. All 4 paws on the floor and owners on a lead. 3 barks and you're out. Aww, if you want proof that spring has well and truly sprung and we're now heading into summer, here's some swans, and over there's some baby swans. Sorry, that was a bit high pitched, but look at those cygnets. How cool are those cygnets? Hello cygnets, don't get up on our account, and De Niro is getting kept well out the way. I don't think we want De Niro to meet the cygnets. De Niro has just spotted the cygnets, but as with sheep and squirrels, he's not really paying them a great deal of attention.
You need to get that on film. Look at them. Look at them.
Look, it's a cygnet parade. Up the cygnets, they're all deciding to go for a wee paddle. They're so funny. They're just like waddling down the hill, and then they get into the water and they keep waddling. Waddle, 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 waddle. That is so cute. There's a line of cygnets, and there's a greyhound who is watching them quite closely. This is the life, eh? Imagine just having one of these wee boats, just sitting there having a wee gin and tonic. We've got Mabel. We'll be sitting in Mabel having a wee gin and tonic, but it's not quite the same. What a pretty wee place to spend the night. Now, we use an app called Park 4 Night to find our parking places, and so far it hasn't let us down. This week's leggings are the Sesame Street ones, but I've been told if I make any Big Bird references I am going to get slapped.
Big Bird.
It's Saturday morning, and of course that means we are going to parkrun. Now, we've done all the parkruns in Scotland, so what do you do after you've done them all? You do them all again. This is our 2nd time round. So, having visited America, Scotland and France without leaving Cumbernauld, we're now going to England. We're going to go to Belhurst Manor and visit the Earl of Sandringham, if he's still about and he hasn't lost his head. We're actually going to Falkirk, which is nowhere near England, to look at Callander House, and it's the kitchens of Callander House where that famous and rather gruesome scene was filmed. So let's go and look at where the Earl lost his head.
If you want to find out more about Callander House, check out our Falkirk video, but today we're on the Outlander trail and in search of coffee and a scone.
And there's a link to the Falkirk video at the end of this video, so please check that out to see how amazing Callander House is inside. If you're wondering what the Earl of Sandringham's house looks like, that is what Callander House looks like, which is pretty much the same thing, because certainly the kitchens are the Earl's kitchens. So we're going to go in now and have a look at them. As we said, you've seen all this before on our video of Falkirk, but what we didn't see in that video was this. So let's go and look at the kitchen. In Callander House's little bookshop, they have various Outlander themed books that you can buy, like this cookbook if you want to make yourself some drunken mock turtle soup, which sounds interesting. We've just arrived as a massive group of people are leaving, but this you might recognise. This is the Georgian kitchen, Earl of Sandringham, as we said before. It is really cool. It's a really nice space, and amazingly it was very busy 2 seconds ago, and now it's absolutely empty. And if you're not a fan of Outlander, or you know nothing about it, you can still appreciate this is a Georgian kitchen. This is where this big house, this would have been the centre of the sort of activity, where all the meals were prepared for all the rich people that lived upstairs and never got their hands dirty with the actual cooking. They might have gone out hunting, fishing and shooting, but they never cooked it. So that was the Outlander kitchens, or the Georgian kitchens at Callander House, if you prefer. And unfortunately, the cafe was shut, so Bex has been deprived of her scone. We looked at Google this morning, and the headline image on Google, you know, the picture at the top of the page, it's British Scone Day today, and we can't get a scone. So we're going to go and find a scone, or she's not going to be very happy, are you?
I'm very disappointed.
Very disappointed.
But the kitchen was nice.
The kitchen was amazing, it was really nice. And we've got another one of those days that we keep showing you where it looks really bright and sunny, and it is really bright and sunny. It's also not hugely warm. But this is Scotland, you can't have it always. One day we'll have a little time where it's sunny and warm and blue skies, but today is not that day. I need to go and put a jumper on. As I've not seen anything that says no drone flying, I think I'll put the drone up. Go up the top of the hill there, there's nobody about, put the drone up and get a look at the house, just for a bit of interest, a bit of ambulance. I know it's ambience, but ambulance sounds funnier. Also, on our previous video from Falkirk, you see a lot of other really cool things there are to see around here. There's the Kelpies, there's the Falkirk Wheel, there's lots and lots to come and see. We're not looking at all that again today, but as I said before, if you go and look at our Falkirk video, you get a guided tour of all the best things to see in this really surprisingly interesting wee town. Disappointed by the fact the cafe's shut, we're heading to this little thing here that sells ice cream, but as you can see it's not very busy because it's a bit chilly for ice cream. Mind you, ice cream. Another thing that you won't see when the weather's better is a table to sit at, because they're always full. Oh bless, she's still got her wee heart set on a scone. I hope they sell scones over there, but if not, I hope she comes back with a nice cake.
We couldn't find coffee and a scone, but we found coffee and some nice biscuits out in the sunshine. Happy days!
You can't beat a wee lie down in the sunshine after a cup of coffee and a nice cake, but we've not got time to lie about because you guys want us to go and do more exploring, so off we go to see what we can find next. And on the windy back roads out of Falkirk we met some friendly locals. Hello ladies, would you like me to make you famous? I can put you on YouTube, or would you rather it was MooTube? Oh dear, that's got to be one of my worst jokes yet. For that I deserve to go to prison, and that's exactly where we're headed for. Our next stop is Wentworth Prison, which looks awfully like Linlithgow Palace in Linlithgow in Scotland, obviously, but no, it's Wentworth Prison, where nasty things happened to Jamie. So this is Linlithgow Palace, birthplace of Mary Queen of Scots, and also Wentworth Prison in Outlander. But we're going to call it Linlithgow Palace because we are in Linlithgow. We are not in Wentworth, wherever Wentworth may be. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That is a big fountainy thing that is no longer in use, but there is our old friend, the unicorn, imaginary emblem of Scotland. And up there there's lots of little people, and round here there is a reindeer. Hello, it looks a bit like, looks like De Niro wearing antlers. That is a greyhound in antlers, that is not a deer. And it's another dark and mysterious spiral staircase. You know we like these, and we always speed this bit up so it looks like we're running up the stairs. This time I am not running up the stairs, because if you remember at the tower in St Andrews, when we went up St Rose Tower, I just about killed myself trying to run up the stairs to film it, so not doing that here. We're going this way. Ta-da! We have not been here before, as we keep saying. Well, Bex might have been here at some point in the past. I definitely haven't. This is really cool, and it's all remarkably intact. I am liking this a lot. We are now in the southwest tower, and as you can see, it is quite a big tower. It goes all the way up there to the sky. That is really quite impressive. I hope nothing falls off up the top there, that would hurt. This is where Mary Queen of Scots would have walked. Her feet would have been on this floor, and over there is Bex, Princess of Methil, who is now out of sight, so you can't actually see her, so that made no sense. This has pretty much moved to the top of the list of places that you have to visit. Linlithgow Palace is really, really cool, and there's so much to see, and it lets your imagination run wild, because obviously it's a ruin, but it's still intact, so you can see where they would have had things holding up floors and statues up in those niches up there, and this is so cool. Got then, Bex, which way are we going now? Up these stairs. Let's explore the prison. Oh, it's dark and mysterious again, and that's really dark and mysterious.
Doesn't go anywhere.
And it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, we're not going there then, but this is into another very grand hall. Nice that so much of it has actually survived.
A nice wee passageway down here.
Isn't it? It's really cool, this little rabbit warren of tunnels where servants would have walked and brought them all the food out in the grand hall, which is just the other side of that wall. We have had comments that I talk too much. I don't think I talk too much, I just think I say the same words too often.
You say really a bit too often, really a bit too much.
Really?
Really.
Really?
Really.
Very. Extremely. Up there is the top of a tower with people in it. We are going up there. Now, that flight of stairs doesn't go anywhere. Oh well, back down again. Yeah, Historic Scotland has got lots of bits that are closed. This palace is actually only just reopened, but they're doing inspections of high level bits where things are in danger of falling off, which is not good for business. Oh, and we've come down a flight of stairs. It's a bit of a rabbit warren this, so it's very easy to get very lost, but this is down at the bottom of that flight of stairs, and there is another door which is closed. But there's more stairs going down. I'm thinking we're heading in a sort of dungeonly, storeroomy type direction. This is so cool. It's going down and down. We must be underground by this point, so let's keep going down and see where we end up. And this is the lower kitchen, which is really cool. This is not the royal kitchen where the king's dinner was made. This is where the servants and the visitors had their dinners made. That is really cool. And there is our well. And there is a really nice arch. And behind the really nice arch there is... Oh wow, oh look at that. Wow, that is amazing. This must have been a fireplace then. A massive fire for cooking all the stuff. Right, we're heading back up out of the damp, cold and miserable kitchen into the daylight, hopefully. Or are we going to go this way? Let's go this way. Did we? Oh, let's go that way then. This is worse than being out with De Niro. This place is a little rabbit warren. We've just come up from the guardhouse into this little corridor, and over here there is a... I think I can probably use my imagination for what that hole in the floor was for. Anyway, let's go back down and have a look at the guard room and show you where the prisoners were kept, or the low status prisoners, not the rich ones. So this is the guard room, and if you were a low status prisoner, not important enough for your own room upstairs, then you got put down into this pit. Now that must have been horrible, and you can imagine where the guards went to the toilet. We hope you guys are enjoying this little look at Wentworth Prison, Linlithgow Palace. And here we go, another flight of stairs. This has got to be the spiral staircase up to that tall tower.
They're filming a YouTube video.
We are filming a YouTube video. So after what Beck says is 132 steps, we are at the top of the tower just about. Well, technically that's the top of the tower there. But I've stopped here because look at that view. And to be fair, the view in the other direction is not that bad either.
Who needs a drone when you're up here?
Absolutely. And up at the very top of the tower is this little place where you can have a wee sit down. And after climbing 130 odd stairs, you need a place. Oh, it's actually called Queen Margaret's Bower. There you go. So there we have Bex recreating Queen Margaret sitting here waiting for her husband to come back after the Battle of Flodden. Unfortunately, he wasn't coming back because he was dead.
They got to drink sweet wines. Where's my sweet wine?
Would you like some sweet wine, would you?
Have you got any handy?
I think there's a cold can of Pepsi in a shop here somewhere, or a warm bottle of water in the van.
Nope, I want sweet wines and I want it now.
And Bex is off because I didn't have any sweet wine. I didn't know I was supposed to bring the sweet wine. I left all the sweet wine in our wine cellar back in Methil. I'm really sorry. It is very, very impressive, and it's a good place to bring kids, as Beck said, because you can let the little darlings run off and explore, and maybe they'll fall down a big hole, which would be hilarious. Ow! I'm getting hit from behind now. Oh, just different levels. It's like some sort of mad, sort of strange computer game, because look over there, there's a walkway that goes across to another tower that you can't get into. And beyond that, that pointy thing there is the top of the church. Oh, bless. We were going down there, and a wee boy went past us and said, "Don't touch anything because it's 10,000 years old." But you're a wee bit out with your history, but it made us both smile. Like a lot of these things that we now see in this sort of condition, it's been renovated and restored obviously, but also it would have once been painted. I bet that would have looked something else. It would have been quite impressive. And there's a mermaid up there, and there's a boy with his drums. Those are both the only ones that they know for definite are based on original statues. I just read that over there, so I'm not making it up. But the mermaid and the drummer are both based on what was here originally. The rest of it has been renovated, restored, and, to use the phrase that they use, reimagined. So how reimagined that is, well, you'll have to figure it out for yourself. Not only is it definitely a greyhound with antlers, it's also a greyhound with antlers and wings. I think whoever imagined that one must have been at the wine. I'm now sure that greyhound with antlers and wings is looking at me. I should have brought it a biscuit. It's probably sitting there thinking, I sit here looking really cute with my antlers on and I don't get a biscuit. Because we know if we put a hat on De Niro, he always demands a biscuit afterwards in return for the indignity of having to wear a hat. So that's us just about done for this very quick week round this amazing palace. We're now going to go to a park that is not in West Lothian, it's actually somewhere else, because you can use your imagination. It's an Outlander location, and we'll tell you more about that when we get there. Now that spiky thing at the top there, I always thought was on the palace, but it's not. It's on the church, but that is a very, very impressive church as well. So while we're here, let's have a wee look at the church. We've just been in the church, which was amazing, and now I'm going to go and look at something that will make me go wow and make Bex go eh? We're going to go and find the church's old mort safe. Now a mort safe is back in the days of the body snatchers, when bodies were stolen for medical experimentation. They'd put the bodies in the mort safe until they had decomposed enough to be no good to the surgeons, so it's pretty gross, but we're going to go and find it because it's also going to be, I think, quite interesting. Well, you can say what you want about Scotland, and lots of people do. You cannot beat our churches. We have some of the most impressive religious architecture anywhere in the world. I think that is just absolutely gorgeous. And there is the palace in the background. Well, we couldn't find the mort safe after all that. It may be a big iron box somewhere, or it may be away for some sort of restoration, or it may not exist anymore. But either way, there is the top of the church and its pointy hat. Bex is just standing looking cool, and this is a succession from Mary Queen of Scots up to our present Queen, who's not our present Queen anymore because she's dead. And there's Mary Queen of Scots, James VI and First of England, Queen Elizabeth, Sophia, never heard of her, George I, George II, Frederick, no idea what he was either, George III, Edward the Duke of Kent, Victoria, we've heard of her, Edward VIII, George V, George VI, and Elizabeth II, but not Elizabeth II of Scotland, because we never had an Elizabeth I. And then down here, King Charles, who's not got a plaque yet. St Michael is kind to strangers, but he's not very kind to dragons. Doesn't he know those are an endangered species? Linlithgow is another place that is very popular with the tourists, and we hope today we've kind of shown you why. That rather impressive and imposing looking structure there is the front of the borough halls, which are quite good. It's got lots of new stuff bolted on the back, but that is the oldie worldy bit facing out into the square. Really nice. And the square, as you can see, is actually round, but let me off for calling it a square. Inevitably, because this is a bit of an Outlander themed adventure, this is where Jamie bought his kilt, in the local charity shop, so we're going to go in here for a wee look. What do you reckon? Is that a llama or is that a poodle? It's interesting. As well as the big fountain in the palace, there's this fountain on the town square, which, as we've already said, is actually round, but you get the idea. It's a very nice fountain, and it's another charity shop. Oh, but look at him sitting all neglected over there in that corner. That was once some small child's pride and joy. Now it's just sitting there waiting for somebody else to come in and love it. Hello, Mr. Elephant. So as Bex goes into another nice wee shop, I'm going to go and look at one of the sort of icons of the town, one of the emblems of the town, but it's not one we can tell you the name of because it is what it is, but we'll go for a wee look. And this is the emblem of the town. You can read the name there for yourself, but it's a big black dog. In this case, it's a greyhound. The statue is 1/3 life size, or from De Niro, a little bit bigger, but the ears aren't right. They haven't got the ears right at all. Greyhound ears do not do that. And there's a little bit of the history of that thing. There is the dog on the town's regalia. There's the dog on the Lord Provost's thing, and there it is on the council shield. That's the old one, where the dog is prominent. That's the new one that has St Michael, but if you look on his shield, the dog's still there. So there you go, that is a greyhound that is quite famous. It's really cool, Bex. This one stands still for long enough for you to like point a camera at it.
That's because it's a female.
But you're saying females do what they're told?
Absolutely, always.
We do always, I do. Bex isn't actually that fussed about civic architecture, but there's lots of old buildings, and that's the old high street. And over there's that, which looks very 1970s and very boggin. And right behind it, there is the palace. I mean, who decided, yeah, that's what we want to build, a big grey monstrosity? No idea. I knew there was a reason we didn't go into that shop last time. How can anywhere be cash only in this day and age? Yeah, we've not come very far. We are in Prestonpans, ready for the Battle of Prestonpans, except we're not. Once again, we are in Muravenside Country Park, which is near Linlithgow, and where they filmed all the scenes where they're preparing to fight at the Battle of Prestonpans. So this is basically just another nice wee park, and if you're here for a visit, there's like animal petting zoos and stuff where you can go and talk to a goat, or you can pretend to be Outlander people running about here shouting with swords and stuff, but we probably won't do that today because you kind of get looked at like you're a bit weird. It is amazing how many Outlander filming locations there are dotted about this part of Scotland, because it's all convenient for the main studios that we saw earlier. Oh, and those are quite cute. There are some goats, obviously. You know what a goat looks like, and if you don't, well, that is a goat over there. And that one is looking at me saying, "Why are you talking to yourself?" I wonder what De Niro would make of the goats. I wonder what the goats would make of De Niro. But watching that one there, goats have the same problem scratching their ears that greyhounds have, so they might have something in common. You can kind of see why this is a really good filming location, because this scenery won't have changed much in the last 200, 300, 400 years or more. It's really, really very, very untouched. We're quite well blessed in Scotland with these sort of parks. They're dotted about all over the place, and they give you a real sort of connection with nature, but they also give you a real connection with history, because this, is a historic site. Okay, the Outlander thing is being overdone a little bit, but it's still, things have happened here that have shaped this country. Linlithgow Palace is just up the road, so the royals would have been here. It would have been quite an important place. This whole area was very, very well to do and very, very affluent. And then obviously with the onset of the Industrial Revolution, it was a massive coalfield, so probably not quite so nice, but still equally important to the history of Scotland. And I'm guessing the other good thing about these big parks is if you're filming something like Outlander, then you don't get any car noise in the background, because everywhere you go in the world now you can hear cars and you can hear aeroplanes going over. I'm guessing this is quite peaceful, so as long as you time it right for the flight times into Edinburgh Airport, which is just over there, then they're not going to get any background noise that kind of spoils the whole 17th, 18th century ambience. And as always, De Niro is desperate to go for an explore. In spite of the fact that he's just had an explore and a big walk, and then another explore and another big walk, he's always up for an explore and a big walk. But this isn't going to be a big walk, because we are going somewhere very special next. Yes, we are going to be heading to Fort William, which you may think is in the north of Scotland, but it's not. It's actually not very far along the coast from where we are now. It's not the real Fort William, obviously. That is Fort William as portrayed in Outlander. It's Blackness Castle, which is really smart, but I've got a funny feeling by the time we get there it's going to be closed, so it might just be a look at the outside. It's got a bit breezy because we are down at the seaside, and there's Bex and De Niro, and in the background over there is Fort William, Blackness Castle, but we'll call it Fort William for the avoidance of any Outlander doubt. This is another really cool wee village. This is Blackness, obviously, and it's lovely. And it's famous for a restaurant called the Lobster Pot, and that is where we are going tonight for our dinner, so that's going to be nice. It's dog friendly, but our dog is a bit big, so we'll see what happens. This is really quite windy, so I have no idea if this microphone will be working, but I will keep wittering, and if it does, then you'll hear my gems of wisdom and my pearls of humour, or pearls of wisdom and gem, whatever. Anyway, you'll hear me talking a lot. That's quite a pretty view. Lots of little useless boats will be quite useless until the tide comes in again. Just now they're all just sitting on the sand. And over there is the shipyard, and further round this way is Rosyth, and then the Queensferry crossing and the Forth Bridges that we'll go and have a look at when we get a bit further down here. It's often called the ship that never sailed, because from the other side it is shaped a bit like a ship, which we will see when we get around the other side of it. And usually at this point we put him back in the van, but the nice lady said, no, you can take your dog in, he's just not allowed in the shop. Well, that's fine, because he's got no money to spend anyway, so come on, De Niro, let's go to the castle. Oh, no climbing on walls, spoil sports. So that is the pointy end of the castle that was guarding the River Forth and controlling access upstream, and over there we have got the Forth Bridges. That's the Queensferry crossing, the Forth Road Bridge and the Forth Rail Bridge. That's really cool. That's a nice view. One day we'll get that without any sort of fuzzy, hazy stuff on it, and it'll be amazing. But for now, that's the best we're going to get today. I wonder how many great hounds get to visit the royal castle these days. Probably not very many. Lots of wee yappy things and little funny looking things, but not many great hounds. Oh, so the great hound and his servant are going to go and visit the castle. I wonder where the kennels would have been for all De Niro's ancestors. That is the way in. So if you are a bad man getting in here, you will come in here with your muskets and you'll go charging down here to go up the stairs into the castle, and you will get shot in the back by defenders behind that hole in the wall there. But if you get past here, you're in a very open area where you would be fired on from above. You probably didn't have much of a chance. But hey ho, I don't know where Bex has gone with De Niro now. Bex and De Niro, I wonder if they're through here. I don't know. Oh, and there's the original Tower House. How cool is that one? Yep, that is very nice, but there is no sign of Bex, De Niro or Jamie or any of the Outlander crew. Oh, there they are! Hello! I didn't know you were down there. I'll come back down. The Great Hound is on the battlements, surveying what would have once been his domain, or his master's domain. That'd be such a good picture from outside. Actually, at this point, I know something that Bex and De Niro don't know. I know that these steps are fine, but over there are some wooden ones that De Niro might not be overly keen on.
Walking out there, De Niro.
Oh, you've been out on that thing out there, have you?
We started walking out there and I thought you were behind me.
I was talking to myself, as I always do with this thing, and turned round and you were gone. And I asked the viewers if they knew where you'd gone, but none of them did. Right, this is going to be a test.
Come on, De Niro. Yay!
Come on, you go. He's not at all. Yay! Good boy. Alright, that's interesting. This landing jetty here was added in 1870 when the castle became an ammunition depot, which makes sense. If the castle's an ammunition depot, over there is Rosyth Royal Dockyard, so they wouldn't have the ammunition in the dockyard in case it all went bang. So I suppose an old castle is a great place to keep all of your explosives. Bex is doing her bit for Scottish tourism with a gentleman over there, and we are looking at this tower house again. That is so cool. This is the old latrine, and you can tell it's the old latrine because it still smells of pee. Yes, it is actually. I wasn't joking. That is the lavatorial facilities for the castle, and you just you can imagine it all falls out there. Lovely if you're walking underneath. And there's De Niro wondering who I'm talking to, and there's Bex wondering who I'm talking to and when we're going to go and get our dinner.
I don't really think castles are dog friendly.
I was surprised that they let the dog in, but he seems to be quite happy, so let's not push it. It's very nice and they let dogs in, but it's not hugely dog friendly. You can see on the ground down there, it's just been built on an outcrop of rock. It's not been flattened a bit in the middle. That's really smart. And there's what I'm guessing is the old well for fresh water. And obviously that is the tower house yet again, and that is Bex and De Niro trying to head back down the way that we came up. This is another example of how good Historic Scotland membership is, because that's Linlithgow and here, so that would have been 4 entries that we haven't had to pay for. So if you are coming across on a holiday, and if you're going to be here a lot, you can get the annual membership, but they also do an Explorer Pass, which lets you get into any of their sites. It's like annual membership, except obviously it doesn't last for a year, duh. But you can come here, you can go to Edinburgh Castle, Stirling Castle, Craigmillar Castle, which you probably haven't heard of, but you will, and anywhere else that's Historic Scotland. And the good news is, because the weather is getting better and the situation with the stone is improving as they inspect more and more of their sites, more and more of the sites are actually open, which is always good. There's no point going somewhere that's closed. As you know, we tend to do that quite a lot. And Bex just asked a very sensible question. She said, why didn't they just film Fort William in Fort William? That, as you know if you've watched our Fort William video, is because Fort William, the fort, was demolished in the 1800s to make way for the railway line. So if you want a fort that looks a little bit like Fort William used to look, this is as good as you're going to get. Oh, and judging by the fact that a lady and a greyhound have just disappeared in here, the tower house is open. Yo! It's really windy, I hope you can hear this. This is pretty cool. Again, I'm going to refer to one of our old videos, which I seem to do quite a lot. But if you're a Scots Tarvet Tower, you get a good idea of what this building looked like. Not that you don't get a good idea by looking at it anyway, but there's the latrine corner and the benches at the windows and all that sort of gubbins, and up there is the floor above. Wow, that's in really good condition. That is a genuine medieval ceiling boss. That is really smart. It's so sharp and so well defined. I like that. De Niro is down there making new friends, and I am going up this spiral staircase because, as you probably know, I can't resist a spiral staircase. So there is the first floor level. There's where we're just standing, and if we go up here, you'll see the wooden floor that we just saw from down there. This building was actually in use up until like the 1800s, 1900s as a barracks, so it's not fallen to bits because it was still getting used quite recently by the government. Well, recently, 1800s, is that recent? Don't know. Anyway, it was this recent use as a prison and then a barracks and then an ammunition store that is probably the reason this castle is still standing and not just rack and ruined. There you are. That is a vaulted stone ceiling. This is the roof of the castle, and that's the domed bit you were just looking at below, the vaulted ceiling. And this is the old battlements. This is really smart. Let's go and see what we can see over here. I bet we can see more of the castle and people struggling to get in for a wee look. We are now going to go and get our dinner at a restaurant that's over there that's called the Lobster Pot, and it is supposed to be amazing. And well, we'll let you know if it is or not. We will be the judge of that. I'm sure it probably is, and we're starving, so it doesn't really matter. I would eat the proverbial scabby horse. Yeah, eat a scabby horse is a figure of speech, but right now it actually feels more literal than just figurative. I am really hungry. We've been out exploring all day and we haven't stopped, so it's time to stop. And there's that little sticky outy turrety bit that De Niro was sticking his nose through, so that's what it looks like from down here. Well, De Niro, what did you think of that? Did you like that castle? Not much fussed? No, probably not much fussed. He's probably on the not much fussed side of castles. So there's a last look at the castle and the really nice wee beach that they've got here. It's a very, very pretty wee place. Definitely worth a visit. Absolutely, you have to come here if you're visiting Scotland. It is just amazing. Go to Blackness and go to Linlithgow. So this is the famous Lobster Pot restaurant in Blackness, and as you can see it's very quirky, got a proper seafood theme going on, and this chap over here is the scabby horse I was talking about earlier. And as we mentioned before, it's dog friendly, but these days everywhere is dog friendly, not sure about cats. And if you want an Outlander connection, this is the restaurant where the cast and crew come to when they're working at Blackness. If you do fancy the look of the Lobster Pot, it is a good idea to book in advance before you come, because it can get very, very, very busy. But today wasn't too bad, so Bex and I were led to our table where she could look at the menu for 20 minutes before she decided what she was going to have. So a nice dinner and a glass of wine, there's a happy Bex, and mine looks very much like hers apart from no glass of wine because I'm driving. Boo. And we said earlier that it was quirky. Well, some of the art is definitely, yeah, I'm not sure about this little chap. He looks a bit boss-eyed, but yeah, quirky. Definitely quirky. As opposed to this next one, which is just a bit scary. A man with a bloody hammer. Yeah, not sure. The Lobster Pot was a great way to finish this little Outlander-inspired adventure. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe so we get to see the numbers of subscribers going up and do our wee happy dance. And we'll see you soon for more Scotland on a shoestring. There, I think we're being watched by the world's bravest pussycat. Hello, pussycat. Hello, puss, puss, puss. Oh, look, pussycat. Here we see a greyhound on very high alert, and there we see a pussycat who doesn't actually care.